What's good? Back with another video, another training video. We're getting back into trading. So yeah. I'm just making these videos just so I can like sort of do a trade recap, mainly for me, not for the viewer. But you're welcome to watch along and stuff. But yeah, so what we had today was I started off looking at DXY, and what I saw, we'll kind of get rid of all these things, to be honest, just start out nice and clean. So obviously a massive consolidation, and we're not really liking that, but we got to zoom in, we got to see what's happening because we still got to make money. So obviously kind of chopping a bit here, seeing a big sort of move down here. I think actually we'll start by going to the weekly. We'll sort of see what's going on, like big picture, right? So sort of massive run up here, sort of consolidating now. And what we can see here is this sort of big bearish fair value gap here. And that's not been filled in for a long time. And we've got all these big sell, buy stops above these highs, because we've kind of, I don't know, we had this massive run here, took out sort of the sell side down here. And obviously we've got some stops down here, but I'm wanting to see this bearish fair value gap get filled in. And I'm thinking that, we've got some highs up here, at least, if completely wrong, we're not going to fill that in. We're going to run these stops up here. So I'm sort of hoping that we can, run these relative equal highs up here. And so I'm kind of bullish on the dollar. And conversely, bearish on GU and EU. So that's sort of big picture for DXY. Now, if we zoom in more, what we have here is sort of this range here. We have this sort of dealing range here that we're working with. And we've currently swept these relative equal lows down here. And we've kind of come up a bit from that. So we've had a sweep of these ones here. So if I put the chart back on, it's a little hard to see, but I think we can get rid of you. We have these lows here that are sort of resting on this 50% mark of this range, this big range that we're in here. We swept that with this move here, and now we're coming up a bit. So that's kind of giving me, okay, yeah, that's looking good. And we can see that this is a decent sweep structure because we rapidly came down, swept all these orders, chop, 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 rapidly up. And that's a good sort of sweep structure that I like to see. Now, obviously, here we're consolidating. So I'm thinking, okay, potentially we could want to come down and sweep these sort of sell side stops down here and potentially tap into some kind of order block here, or we could just continue up. Either way, I know that we're wanting to go up, so that's kind of the general idea on the dollar. And what actually ended up happening was we sort of what did end up happening here? Yeah, I'm still getting back into this, guys. My bad. Um, let's see what happened because I had a rough idea on what happened. Yeah, so I was hoping to come down here really, but we wanted to sort of run up here. Yeah, so we've got these Asian session highs. Price initially wanted to come up here and sweep these, which is totally okay. And I thought we were gonna keep going lower, but we sort of just wanted to have a big run up, to be honest, which is totally fine. So really the trade, if you will, would have been right here, sort of taking along for this. Not really anything to see on here on the dollar per se, but if we move over to euro, this is where a decent trade sort of occurred where I saw a pretty decent trade here. So yeah, no, same thing, really opposite side. We've had price recently take out these highs. So general idea is that we're bearish. So, you know, keeping that in mind, we'll scale down and we'll sort of look to see what there is to take. So scaling in here on the more short-term time frame, the 1 hour, we can see that at roughly 3 p.m. my time, we had this run take out these relative equal highs, as well as fill in this bearish fair value gap. So that's a pretty good setup already. Now, this happened quite early on, so what we'd want to do is take a continuation trade and try to play off this move. So we can scale in a bit more and we can, look for potential confluences to trade off. So on the 1 hour, we have this, we have this bearish order block. Put the things back on. We have this bearish order block that I've highlighted with this purple box. And that's important because obviously if price hits this, that's a significant area. So had this highlighted. What I've also got highlighted is on the 15-minute, the top of this bearish fair value gap. So this bearish fair value gap right here. Now, what does price want to do? Price wants to perfectly come up into this 1 hour fair value gap order block, and perfectly fill in this fair value gap. I mean, this is to a T. If we look here, if we look on the low, that's 1.08886. And then the high of this candle was 1.08886. I mean, bang on the money, right? So 5 minute, obviously, pretty quick. You have to be fast with these things. I mean, I don't know. I don't know about what the 1 minute even looked like. Yeah, you got a bit of time, but you can see how engineered this is, right? Like, it's pretty perfect. It's pretty perfect. But yeah, so obviously we're in an optimal trade entry right here. We take the swing high to the swing low. You can see here that we are in an ideal range to take a trade above that 70 level. So, price comes up here, and depending on what confluences you have or what you take, I mean, I'm still working on what I want to do, whether I want to wait for like a close below or we just take it straight up OTE, 1 minute breaker structure type thing. Not too sure yet what my style will be. I'm thinking of just observing as of right now and seeing what I want to kind of feel comfortable with doing. I didn't take this trade. I just watched it happen. And, price was probably around here when I realized, oh, damn, that's a decent trade. I was looking at GU initially and I was thinking about like, oh, potential long here. I think price was on the 5 minutes, somewhat, I think we were around here and then we had price kind of sweep this low. I wasn't really know what I was looking at. Yeah, I thought price came into this order block here and then, we were roughly around this area and I thought, come down, hit this order block, take off. Didn't really happen. And that's totally fine because we needed to think more long term about what was happening. So overall, pretty I'm happy because I spotted this and it's good for me to start to get back into these things. I'm happy that I didn't FOMO into this. Rather, I just watched, I observed, I noted down significant levels, and as well as all these things, if we zoom out on this range and we kind of take an idea, I think, this is roughly the 1 hour, if we look at this dealing range that we're working with here. So, obviously price is broken through it now, but at the time, this high swept to the side here, this low swept to these relative equal lows here. So this is the dealing range that we're working with. We can see that 50% level, this level right here, it's pretty correlated with these levels that we're working with. Oh my gosh. It's pretty close to these levels that we're working with, the top of that fair value gap, the bottom of the order block. So these things all sort of tying together, and that's what I'm trying to learn right now. But um that is it for now. Back with another video tomorrow, hopefully. And peace. How do I end this?